Welcome back. Now, as if the global slowdown wasn't enough, Indian FMCG companies now have another headache to deal with: socio-political upheavals in their overseas markets. Farah Bukwala reports that upheavals in regions that account for a large portion of FMCG revenues could hurt their fourth quarter performance. Take a look.
Protest in Bangladesh, wage hikes in Indonesia, weak consumer sentiment in Egypt. Just a few more reasons the management of Indian FMCG companies are spending sleepless nights. Analysts say these upheavals could result in a weaker performance by FMCG companies with a big international presence. The big hits could go to GCPL, which depends on international markets for 45% of revenues, Dabur with its 30% exposure, and Marico, for which foreign markets make up 25% of revenues. Let's get specific. The recent Shahbag Square protest in Bangladesh will hurt Marico the most. Bangladesh accounts for 10% to Marico's overall sales and 40% to its international business. And analysts are busy factoring this hit when working on what to expect from the company's fourth quarter earnings report.
In the last 3 quarters, if one looks at Marico's performance in Bangladesh has been tepid. During this quarter, well, specific with regards to Shahbag Square protest, that has been since March 1st. So, I mean, clearly when you have protests around the country with regards to this, there can be impact on the sales for about 15 to 20 days during that period. To that extent, it might be about 10 to 30% kind of sale impact which we can see during the quarter.
GCPL's performance, on the other hand, will take a hit from developments in Indonesia and Argentina. Indonesia makes up 19% to GCPL's top line and is its best performing international market. But Indonesia has hiked minimum wages by 44%, from $158 per month to $228. Experts argue that while this move may spur consumption in the country, it will mean higher wage costs for GCPL, which could squeeze margins by as much as 100 basis points in the fourth quarter alone. In Argentina, meanwhile, GCPL has to come to terms with a government diktat that freezes price hikes on FMCG products to tame inflation. For companies like Dabur, which has been enjoying the cruise up the Nile, the crocodiles are circling. Egypt's consumption atmosphere has been dropping. Its consumer confidence index has slipped 16% between November and December 2012. And this could mean the usual 9% contribution from the Middle East region to total revenues may not come in this time. But when it comes to Egypt, analysts are betting that the weakening consumption cycle will not last.
In the near term, we might see some volatility in the performance, but over the long run, the Egypt would be, one of the key driver in terms of the international performance for some of these companies.
But the consolations that the impact of these socio-political fracasses may not be long-lived is small, as FMCG companies come to terms with the possibility that they may be headed for their weakest results in 4 quarters. In Mumbai, Farah Bukwala.
Okay, so all focus now on Earnings Corner, which of course kicks off officially this Friday with Infosys.